start of the recording, and then I will just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Sure.
Defend objective A.
I need assist incoming.
Observe the barrier. Behind you.
How about a little extra here?
Activating shield.
Alright, so I think I'm already spotting something here. Alright, so firstly, let's discuss a little bit of overhealing. So overhealing is essentially anytime you're trying to heal somebody and they are either full HP, in which case it does absolutely nothing, or very, very close to full HP, in which case it does virtually nothing. So for example, if somebody is like 90%, let's say like Reinhardt's down like 20 HP, you can be thinking to yourself, okay, is it really worth it to heal up 20 HP on a Reinhardt versus do pretty much anything else with my gameplay, such as reload, heal somebody else, damage, use an ability, right? There's so many other things to do with that time that could be better used. Now, if you're in between a fight or there's absolutely nothing else to do, then go ahead and do it. But just kind of prioritizing what you're doing with your time, and then it's 100% wasteful if people are full HP. So we can watch through a little bit of this and we can see just a little bit of overhealing. So for example, that's an overheal shot, right? Everybody's full HP, just kind of doesn't really do too much. You can use it to reload, right? And then we do that a couple of extra times throughout this fight.
Yeah.
So right there, and then we'll right there. Okay, right there. That's that's a little bit fine. They're taking some damage, right? Then here, Sigma's down some HP. That's fine. That's fine. Right here, this one, and then I'm about to go into another thing here in a second. Do you have any questions on that? Did that make sense?
No, that's pretty blatant.
Yep. Here we end up dropping from high ground. I would say for probably not a large reason, and that probably ends up just giving up a free advantage that we could have if we hadn't dropped. So we end up kind of dropping into the fray, which just makes it so that we have less survivability, where there's really not a big reason to drop unless maybe you were anticipating like a hog hook, but it didn't really seem as though we were really paying too much attention to him. So be careful about kind of dropping into the madness, because we actually end up doing that again here in a moment. We do that right around here. So
I just saw the hog, I think, and I just freaked out a little.
yeah, so here in the situation when so we see hog, and then hog ends like very quickly gets pushed away, but let's talk then. I'm trying to think. So yeah, I mean, like, high ground has many, many benefits to it, right? Firstly, the whole thing acts as natural cover, right? So hog tries to hook us, right? We back around the corner, we're fine, right? Somebody's below us, right? They can see us. Now they can't see us. We crouch, right? They can't see us anymore. So that adds a fantastic layer of survivability to our gameplay. Additionally, most characters in the game can't reach you super easily, right? So 2/3 of them need to take the stairs, and then the other third that can naturally reach us need to use abilities, in which case now they're out of abilities. And then that additionally gives us survivability, and then also we get a ton of visibility from high ground too. If we're up here, we can see all of that high ground, all of this high ground. We can see point, we can see over here, we can see, we move a couple inches to the side, we can see over here. Now if we're on a low ground, okay, well, now we can't really see this high ground. Can kind of see the high ground, though the angle's not as good. Can't see down main as easily. And so we just miss out on a lot more visibility and angles as well. So here, maybe not necessary. Now, if Hog looked like he was about to shoot a hook at us and we didn't have any cover, then that seems reasonable. But both times when we dropped Hog, didn't seem to be looking at us or shooting at us or attempting to hook us. So just once again, does that all make sense?
Yep.
And then probably, since we just have a very easy way to get back up there, as soon as we are no longer pressured by Hog, then just hopping back up to high ground would just be probably a free, good idea to be at.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of botched that.
So being on high ground here definitely would 100% help.
Yeah.
Get in here.
Maybe be in more slightly early. And then I think you notice here you accidentally messed up the jump.
Yeah.
Regen up.
ضربة معلم.
Okay, very minor, but we did end up wasting a shift there.
Activating the barrier.
I did notice I jump a lot too. I gotta stop doing so much.
Regen up.
Oh, just spam jumping, I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, I definitely agree. That's a little bit bad habit. Good kill.
Was you or me? Get in here. Get in here. Was you or me, brother?
Notice how we how Doomfist just flat
Yeah,
out
I
misses us
jumped
and then we
into him.
dropped into him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So be careful about that.
Let them out.
Okay. So whenever we use our our window, right? Kind of the number one criteria is that there's actually people to shoot at, right? So when we use our window, you're thinking primarily you're thinking how many people can I see, and then also the number one enemy of window, the number one counter is cover, right? Because cover for any single character in the game is an instant counter to your window, right? You have a hog, you window, he gets around the corner, hog safe, right? You can't do nothing whatsoever. So therefore, when you window, they should be in an absence of cover. They should have no cover to run away to, and then therefore that means that your window is actually going to be successful and go and do things. So therefore, probably don't want to be windowing as of the moment, since there's really, I'd say you're gonna maybe get like one kill on the Junkrat and that's about it,
Yeah.
right? And then you can think, okay, is like one ultimate for one kill, worth it?
Let
Maybe
them
not.
out.
And then even Junkrat gets around the corner.
Yeah. I just felt like I had a bad habit of holding it, and I think I
Hmm.
just didn't want to feel that. But yeah, if it's useless, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. And the 100%, I would rather see you get a really terrible window than hold on to it and never use it, because I've done coaching sessions where I recall one a long while ago where I had Rissa who held on to Bongo for like 6 fights in a row, right?
Yeah.
That it's definitely better to waste it than to never use it, because it actually maybe does a little bit than rather than nothing. But at the same time, you still want to make sure that's actually doing something, right? And so
Yeah.
holding onto it is appropriate until you see an opportunity to use it. So just holding it onto it for maybe another 4 or 5 seconds until we actually see something probably could be beneficial.
My teleporter is online.
Yeah, I see it.
So that is a bit of audio awareness, because we can't really see him here, right?
Yeah.
But you can definitely hear him if you're listening for it. So real quick, audio settings. Well, first, excuse me. Firstly, we actually didn't know that he was left side. If we were if we were watching earlier, right before we windowed, right, we saw him walk in on
Yeah.
that left room. So probably want to be very careful. If we never saw him come out of that room, then that probably means that he's either in there or on high ground, right? So that's just some deductive visual reading. But then additionally, you have the audio cues of Big Hog clunking along. So audio settings real quick. Firstly, since everybody has different sound settings on their headset, this is very subjective, but make sure you have your sound loud enough to actually hear things. I actually have mine turned down pretty far here just because I like to hear myself talk when I coach, but I turn it up when I play. Then I would recommend turning off or down your music volume, as this can clutter with your audio. Just put in a lot of extra unnecessary stuff in there, so turn it off or down. And then finally, this one's probably the more important one, is check to see if your headset has Dolby. Oh, sorry, not Dolby Atmos. Just has surround sound enabled, and if surround sound is not an option on your headset software, then go in-game and turn on Dolby Atmos for headphones, and that's the in-game version. Oh, what just happened there? And then besides that, you can have all those settings perfectly fine and still have bad audio awareness if you're not actually paying attention, right? So make sure you're listening for footsteps and gunshots and abilities and ultimates and watching the fact the hog went in there. And then that way we're not leaping straight into a hog's
Hog
face
ball.
and ball, yeah.
You all look like you needed some healing. You all look like you needed some healing.
Do know that this is maybe the second time I've seen it, so we end up using our shift here when we're not low HP. So watch your health bar, because we end up shifting when we're not low to begin with, which means it just doesn't do any healing. Yeah, so we'll continue to keep an eye on it. I don't think we need to. We'll probably go over it soon.
Going up.
That barrier no longer exists.
All better. Now. Healing you up.
Yeah, I just ran into the middle there. I don't know why I did that. That's could have stayed high. Yeah.
Rising above.
How about a little extra?
I'm under attack.
What is that melody?
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Regen up.
Yeah, there's another waste.
Yeah. So when it comes to your shift, whenever you use it, right, you have a couple different ways that you can use it. You can use it for personal healing because it's a really good way to heal yourself up. You can use it, and then that requires that you actually be low. All of these require that people actually are in need of healing, not overhealing, right? When people are full HP. You can also use it when people need burst healing, right? So somebody's critical and you're trying to get them up extra fast. You can use it when a big group of people need healing, right? You're healing a bunch of people all at the same time. And then additionally, you can also maybe sometimes use it a little bit preemptively, though that's a little bit more niche. It really kind of depends on the situation with that one, since the effect is only going to last like 2 seconds. So those are the ways to use it. None of those are going to be when people are all full HP, and then when we do press it as well, I'm not sure who we're attempting to use it on. If we're attempting to use it on the sim, say that again.
Oh, I have no idea. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, if you're trying to use it on the sim, note that that's out of range as well because it's a 10-meter radius. So you can actually see that here as we click it right there in the very.
I think I saw the ball shooting at me, and that's maybe what I thought I was going to take that damage, but
Take your medicine.
Yep. Usually it's slightly better as reactionary than preemptive, unless you're certain that preemptive, that the preemptive is needed.
yeah.
The barrier.
Get in here.
Okay. So when we use immortality, okay, you have 2 criteria in which you use it for, right? And both these criteria need to be met, or else immortality is not. Or I guess sorry, one criteria. Let me correct that. One criteria, and that is danger level, right? Danger level is not the same thing as health bar, right? As your health, because I can be 1 HP and all the way back here and be completely safe, and I can be full HP and standing right next to a diva bomb or in the middle of their team and be very much in danger, right? Now that's even though health bar is not indicative of danger level, it definitely does impact danger level in a lot of cases. So that health bar is definitely going to be something to keep in mind. But here, right, we can see, okay, Sigma is, he's low HP, but then is he in danger at the moment?
No, I guess not. It's just the ball there.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with
ball's kind of rolling away.
Yeah.
Reinhardt has a shield up. Sigma has grasp if he turns around. You have healing that you can heal him up with, right? Now this is different if Sigma is this low and there is maybe Reinhardt doesn't have shield, or let's say Ball's trying to shoot at him, or let's say that there's a a Doomfist on top of him or Hog on top of him, right? The scenario is different if he's in if the scenario is different, right? But because of the scenario, probably like a wasted immortality because he doesn't really end up requiring it, right? So therefore, watch for danger levels of your teammates, and then that
Get in
will
here.
dictate your immortality usage a little bit better.
Immortality field destroyed.
Okay, so here possibly round here would be a good time for ultimate sometime
Regen
soon.
burst
Yeah.
activated.
Okay, here watch the overhealing with our shift usage, right? So you just look at top left health bars and even just the health bars in front of us and press shift and alright, well everybody's already full, right?
Regen
So
burst
just overhealing, and then you can see how like it really adds up when it's just when you consider how much you do overhealing throughout the course of every single fight, and then therefore every single game and every single game you ever play, right? That really adds up to a lot of time that you spend wasting. And like as I've had I would say the two biggest culprits over overhealing are Mercy and Baptiste. Usually, those are usually the two biggest ones because they end up just kind of thinking it's very spammy. Um, and I've had coaching sessions with people who will spend like upwards of like 14 seconds a fight just sitting there healing nothing, right? And it just becomes now with you, I wouldn't say it's that high, but it's maybe we're seeing like 5-6 seconds of it as a fight, which still, if you're doing that, let's just say that you have one fight a minute, right? So you have, let's just say, 6 seconds, one fight a minute. 13 fights total, right? 6 times 13 equals just a minute, and that's like very very conservative estimate. It just means that you'd have like over a minute of time, minute and a half, where you're just doing absolutely nothing while also wasting your abilities and your ammo, right, for when you actually do need it.
Yeah.
So realistically, it's probably like if you were to keep up that rate, you probably be closer to like 2 minutes or so where you're doing absolutely nothing, compounded by time where you're dead, which is additional time where you're doing nothing. So just something very much something to keep in mind while you're playing.
Got you good as new.
All right, so you can see more here. Another thing to note, things that you can do with this time, right? Because I don't want to just say don't heal. It's always the way that you think of it is you could be doing something else with this time. So the else that you could be doing is reloading. That way you actually have ammo to work with if it's needed, like so that you have ammo when it's needed. Now, if you're very close to being full on your ammo or you see good opportunities for it, another fantastic one to do is to look to damage, right? Just anytime you're not healing, you should probably just be looking to spam in damage, right? That's going to get you ult charged faster. That's going to get you some kills. It's going to allow you to just get an extra damage, get some extra kills, watch for opportunities for it, etc. So here when we're just kind of healing, full HP, everyone's full HP, we just go heal, heal, heal. Probably just a good time to be doing something else, right?
Yeah.
So
Let them out.
okay, we end up using window. This one's maybe a little bit better than last time though. Still not like fantastic as Hog's about to run around the corner, ball ran around the corner, right? So just everyone maybe a slightly better than the last one, but largely once again everyone kind of runs away. Now let's see if we can find a better scenario for it during this fight. Right, we can just go all the way back to like when the start of the fight, right, when we first get our ult.
Immortality field destroyed.
Okay. So now let's imagine we use it like maybe, let's see, this you get out. Oh, I didn't mean to go that far back. Maybe we could have used it like right there, and then Hog and while the Doomfist and the Ball are coming in. Right now, both of them are very very far away from cover while they're doing that. We can skip forwards a little bit. Oh, maybe you should go to your perspective. Where you at?
Barrier
Regen
unstable.
burst activated.
Okay. So here, we could possibly push forwards with it and like use it on top of a cart here and shoot him like that. No, that'd be like K usage. Okay, definitely could probably be using it like sometime around now when Hog is just very on the open, right? Put it a little bit closer, that way you're able to see those guys in the back as well.
Let them up.
though a little bit like further back, slightly delayed.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Right, notice, oh, whoopsie. Notice how because we're putting it this far back, that means that half our team's not able to shoot through it. Right, we're the only person who's able to actually shoot through that, not Reinhardt, not Sigma. Additionally, this also means that our angles are limited, right? You can see, okay, from the furthest
Yeah.
point, we're only able to kind of see this, but if we were to place it on this corner, right, like right here, well, then now we can see all the way up in that room and then all the way down this side over here, right? It just kind of opens up our visibility a little bit more as well for placing it on the corner, maybe a little bit of an angle as well. So a little bit, maybe a little bit faster, a little bit closer, head of our team, right? So those sorts of things.
Help me.
How about a little extra here?
Reality bends to my will.
Okay, a little bit more
Yeah.
overhealing, right? You can kind of see it there. I don't want to hammer. Maybe we can. We'll do. Well, this will what we'll do. We'll watch one fight through, and we'll count how long we do overhealing for, and then we'll pretty much be done with it for the rest of the session. Not assuming it's not saying it's not a problem, but just because I don't want to have to be repeatedly saying it every single
Oh,
fight,
I
right?
get you. I get you.
Better?
Right. So
Reality bends.
okay, one overheal shot. Okay. Here Reinhardt's relatively like fine. Like you can look at his
Yeah.
health bar now. Okay, so from now on, this is overhealing, right? So maybe 2 seconds, 3, 4,
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Here, good job hearing that Junkrat tire. That was good. We ended up saving ourselves, though. There's one other issue with our gameplay currently. Maybe spotted at all here.
I'm right in the front and right in the middle.
Yeah, very far forwards ahead of our entire team, and then very far away from cover. Right, so
Yeah.
no, good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover, and here we definitely have an absence of cover. So probably want to be either further on the left or further on the right, or over here somewhere where we have a lot more cover to work with. And I would imagine we maybe die here in a second.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Stick to the plan. 1. Attackers incoming.
All better.
Activating the barrier.
Now.
Yep. So if we're spending this much time overhealing, if we just convert that time to shooting, well then we probably just up our damage output and killing potential and ultimate charge by probably approximately like 20% or so, right? Just something like that's just very rough off the head approximation. But you can just see like if we're spending 20% of every single fight overhealing, then that's an additional 20% we could be getting if we were being efficient with it.
It's no value.
Mm-hmm.
Regen up.
Yeah. Wasted shift.
Get in here.
Okay. Where's Sigma? Sigma up in the air. Oh, okay.
Yep.
I didn't even see him there.
Yep.
I'm like, very good immortality in that case.
I did press shift there because I thought we were gonna push up like a little at all. It's supposed to be anticipation, but
Yeah. Additionally, like it lasts like 2 seconds. So like I said, it's kind of a little bit more niche and rare when you do use it
Yeah.
anticipatory.
Barrier won't hold together.
My barrier. Regen up.
Barrier on.
Okay. Very hectic.
Heal up.
Very nice.
Stop coming after me.
Because when you do attempt to damage, you generally are getting a lot of kills out of it.
I'm on fire. Keep out of my way. I am on fire. I need healing.
I don't really know what going on there.
Objective A.
Possibly she was feeding you some ult charge. Something she could have been doing there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fully healed.
You trying to impress
Nano
me?
boost is ready to deploy.
Heal up here.
Understood. Payload's moving.
Aid the payload. Observe the barrier.
Yahi Parambas.
Yeah, overhealing.
Yeah, once you kind of start looking for it, you see it all over the place. Whew. Be careful about jumping into a Doomfist, right?
Get in here.
Good immortality though.
Felt good when I woke up in the morning.
Behind you. What is that melody?
Nano boost administered.
It cannot be stopped. Confirmed.
You are fully healed.
And there I called out the hog. Pretty sure.
Barrier in place.
'Cause I did see him right there.
Hmm.
Reach in first. Get in here. I'm at fighting condition. Meteor strike. Going up.
Very nice dodge. Get immortality on yourself as well.
Probably should have just turned around at that point.
Yeah.
I'm on fire.
Overheal.
Yeah. And then within overhealing, make sure as well just you're being aware of health bars and the likes, right? It's feeding awareness, or I guess overhealing is, maybe you could call it a subcategory of awareness if the cause of it is firstly not paying attention, not knowing that you're not doing it, but then also once you do know you're doing it, not being aware of their health bars, right? So what makes sure you're watching the health bars? Yeah, we're like halfway through. Why don't we discuss real quick application? So when it comes to applying this stuff, because overhealing, maybe awareness might seem like a little bit vague of how do you actually put it into action. So let's discuss how you do that. So you put into action this stuff, pretty much the same way that you put into action anything you're trying to work on, and that is that while you are playing, you're going to make sure that you actively focus on the thing you're trying to work on. So if we selected overhealing, right? That means that you wouldn't be playing to autopilot. You wouldn't just be kind of playing to play. Means that contrary to the popular belief, you're not going to purely play to win. Instead, you're going to play to improve. That's when you really start to actually win. When you just purely play to win, you just stagnate. Now, what that actually looks like within your gameplay is it means that you are going to be thinking to yourself while you're playing, health bars, health bars, health bars, health bars, health bars, overheal, 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 or don't overheal, don't overheal, don't overheal. That's harder to say though. Don't overheal, right? Where you're giving yourself a constant string of reminders to really focus in on the thing you're trying to work on. Now, what that does is when you're thinking about, hey, don't overheal, you probably won't be overhealing nearly as frequently. And when you keep that up for a long enough period of time, that will form it as a positive habit. Once it forms as a positive habit, then you can kind of move on to something else and work on something else because it just kind of comes naturally now. Now, I would recommend don't try to do everything all at once. That will kind of become overwhelming. Wouldn't really be too great for you if you tried to do that. Instead, focus on one category of things or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category. That all makes sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Alrighty, so then let's keep going.
Activating the barrier.
I don't know why I didn't duck into cover there. Yeah,
Yep. So cover usage is all over the place. We discussed high ground, so maybe I was thinking, like as soon as Doomfist punches you off, like back here, where are we at? Like, as soon as Doomfist punches you off, I'm thinking to myself, right, I see a McCree up there. Maybe I should jump back up to help McCree out, right? And then that gives you better angles for mortality as well, though I think he does get killed, like, while midair, so not sure how much that would help. Probably still would help. In any case, right, then as soon as they drop, probably would be a good idea to retake high ground, right? Additionally, cover usage is all over the place, right? You have doorways, so doorway, doorway. You have corners, right? Random objects, truck, car, payload, car, right? High grounds, doorway, right? Random corner over here, wall over here, right? Covers all over the heckin' place. And therefore, probably want to take some of it because then we don't end up dying and taking unnecessary damage. So stand near it, use it, and then that way we don't take unnecessary damage. And then that means that we're not forced to use immortality and then die anyways.
Yeah.
Additionally, possibly could have used your ultimate that fight against their composition. To be very fair, you're not going to have very easy, fantastic instances to use your ultimate. You may in fact want to use your ultimate slightly more selfish against that particular composition. You may want to use it more selfishly for damage, as they're going to be very split apart, very spread out, and it's going to kind of be a situation by situation thing where you kind of gotta watch for. So where you have as many people on your screen as you can to shoot at. So make sure you're keeping your eye open for situations like that during that last fight and the fight before. Um, it is admittedly going to be harder than other compositions, but you still want to make sure you're using it.
Regen up. Against the barrier. Stop coming after me.
Take my turret!
Yeah. Putting myself in harm's way to overheal. That was good.
A little extra here.
Here I was thinking that we could have maybe used immortality for the past two people who died, so the Ana and the McCree who died here. And then that could stop them from staggering. And then additionally, think of it like this, right? If you immortality is what's the the timing on it, right? It's 25 seconds to recharge,
Yeah,
right?
something like that. Yep.
And then if somebody dies, then that's 10 seconds of respawn, and then you have to wait for them to walk back to the fight for 10 seconds. So realistically, it's not really wasting your ability if you're saving somebody, because if you don't save them, unless it's like the fight is complete, let's say the fight just ended or something like that, I don't know, then then he would be coming out at the same time as your teammates, then he wouldn't be staggering, right? If McCree died at the same time as your Zarya, then that means that it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But here he ends up staggering himself, and Ana ends up staggering. And that extends the duration in which your team has to wait for the next fight. Now, if we use immortality and we keep them alive, well then yes, it's a 25-second cooldown, but you're not going to be able to use it for another 20 seconds anyways because of the fact that the fight's not starting yet, right?
Makes sense.
So therefore, probably use it to save your teammates, stop them from staggering. So here we could use it on McCree. Then here on Ana, I think we end up forgetting about it for a second because we're looking at Doom. And then Ana could use it there as well.
I think I subconsciously kind of expected her to start making her way back towards the team, and it just didn't happen.
Yep.
I could have definitely thrown it.
You're fully healed.
Kill the Mahal.
Yeah, overhealing when I could have been shooting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That Doom was just floating there.
Alright. So, Doomfist is getting on top of us. He's been on top of us a lot, huh? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking to survive against Doom. Can't, Immor, sure, it's gonna help a little bit, but he can uppercut us out of it. That's what he just did there. He can punch us out of it, and just has a lot of CC, right?
Yeah.
So, two primary things that will help you stay alive against Doomfist. One, and this is very applicable as well because of the fact that they are pretty much on very divey or flanky comp, right? They have when it comes to this, sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to start here. So when it comes to changing your playstyle, team composition dictates playstyle, right? You play differently against every single team comp. They're on a lot more flanky characters. This is what you would call pressure potential. They have a lot of potential on their team to pressure you, right? Genji, Doomfist, Ball, right? A lot of potential to pressure you. Same thing if they're like running a full dive or so, right? If they have absolutely nothing, they have a very low pressure potential. And they can have a very high pressure potential, like they could be running this composition, and let's say they never once touch you the whole game because they're just not paying attention or looking for you, well, then that's kind of actual pressure versus pressure potential, right? So you change your playstyle based off of both. So if you come into the game and the game just starts and you're thinking, okay, they have a high pressure potential, probably want to be taking these things into account, changing up your playstyle. But if the game goes on and it's now fight 4 and they've never once touched you, well, then maybe you don't need to maybe you can kind of go through your gameplay not really worrying about this stuff as much, right? So just that's what I'm getting at the start. Team comp dictates playstyle. Now, two things that you can do now that you know that they contesting you, they have actual pressure on you. One, charge up constantly have your jump charged and ready to go, right? Because if Doomfist tries to get you, right, he tries to punch you, tries to slam you, tries to uppercut you, whatever, right? He's engaging on you, and you have jump ready to go. Then all you have to do is just let go of the button. You press it or whatever. I can't. Wait, you press it and then feel like no, you press jump, right? Okay, you press jump,
Yeah.
right? I have to walk through my head real quick. What do you have to do? You press jump, and then you're instantly out of there, right? He is instantly not a threat. Okay, Genji tries to dive you, same thing. Ball tries to slam you, same thing. Right? Especially if you're using like a high ground as well. If you have a high ground, right? Doomfist, you have a jump charged up here. You see Doomfist come up here. You jump, get up on this bus, and you're good. You're fine. Right? That's number one. Number two is making sure that you're actively paying attention and being aware of where the heck their flankers are, because they are on a very heady flanker comp. If they're on Hanzo Widow, do you really gotta watch like left, right, and behind super often?
Probably not.
Probably not as much. Maybe Hanzo a little bit. But if they're on Genji, Doomfist, Ball, then we probably want to be watching those flank angles, right? Watch
Yeah.
the left, watch the right, watch behind, listen, keep your ears open, be actively aware of them, and then knowing that they're coming gives you so much extra time to react, right? Too often do I watch, Ana players especially, right, where like an Ana is always trying to sleep after the Doomfist has already uppercutted them, right? And therefore you have half a second to react before you're dead, right? But if you are watching the flanks and you saw, oh, Doomfist is swinging in from the top here, then you have a whole 3 seconds rather than half a second to sleep him or jump away from him, right? And then therefore that's like 6 times the speed, right? Of reaction. It's the same thing with like cover usage, right? If I'm standing right here or right here, right? And somebody starts shooting at me, it takes me like 1, 2, 3 seconds to get behind cover, right? But if I am right here, it takes me half a second. So it's like 6 times faster if I'm standing right here in comparison to standing in the middle, right? And then therefore I have a lot more survivability. So all those concepts making sense?
Yep. Yeah, that does make sense.
Alrighty.
Well, let them up.
Nap time.
Let them up.
Alright. Check and fight real quick. I think that's maybe semi-reasonable. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, I think that's all right. That's maybe a little bit like right now you guys are definitely at an advantage. So it's possible that you don't need it. Here you maybe could have waited an extra second or two to see if you really do need your ultimate, right? Give it like let the fight flesh out for an extra second. See, okay, we have a big advantage. It's a 5v3 at the moment. That's not a guaranteed one fight, but that's a heavy advantage, right? So here in this situation, we can maybe be waiting an extra couple seconds, see do I actually need it? That way you don't end up wasting your ultimate if you don't need it. And this definitely could be a one fight. It's kind of on that fine line between the two.
Stop coming after me. Regen burst activated. Predicted outcome.
60 seconds remaining.
Barrier is unstable. My barrier is destroyed. Barrier no longer exists.
Alright, so immortality for Torb here maybe, though he is high in the air, so that might not do a ton. Then we get hooked by Hawk, right? So awareness, because we heard him clunking around up there while we were walking into the fight. Additionally, making sure that we're like using cover and just being aware of our surroundings, and then that leads to us staying alive. Had a lot of very easily preventable deaths, so make sure you're watching out for why you're dying, right? Four main causes of deaths are poor positioning, lack of awareness, misuse of abilities, and over aggression, right? So pay attention to why you're dying and make sure you're looking to stay alive.
We're on.
The power of destruction. Time the delash.
Let's get started.
Okay, overhealing.
Yeah.
Turret's under fire.
Payload in motion stays in motion.
Yeah, a lot I just wasted.
Allow me to repair the damage. Fire it again.
Yes, more.
Okay, so here let's rewatch this with our orb
Allow me to
usage.
repair
So
the damage.
there, good.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna say it was pretty poor. I didn't bounce it off anything. I kind of just.
Yeah. I said orb usage. I meant to say just resource left click usage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that one's all right. Not kind of average. Here we end up kind of healing a little bit of nothing. Make sure like as soon as we're not doing anything with it that we're letting go of it, because here we kind of heal the air a little bit.
Yeah.
Now
Over.
here everybody's full HP, so we should just let go immediately. But then we just keep healing and we keep healing. Yeah, McCree's down like a little bit, so maybe tap him and just let that heal over time effect get him a little bit extra, right? But we're kind of holding it down and people are full HP, and then we end up wasting pretty much all of it. So now we're coming to the next fight and we don't have any resources.
This will restore you.
Okay, a little bit more wasting,
Recharge.
and then now we're just at nothing again. So watch that usage. Can you stand in the tree there? That's interesting if you just did that. Looks like you're standing in the tree. I want to try that now. Pretty sure I knew you could stand up there, but not in the tree.
That's much better.
I wasn't quite sure if he could tech up there, so I was kind of a little hesitant to push him. Yeah, overhealing.
Get into position.
Oh, I think we tried to throw in a damage here. We just like clicked the wrong button or something like that, because
Yeah.
you can kind of see like the direction we're facing with it, and so I'm assuming we're trying to throw damage
Get
there.
into position.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're just trying to heal them. That's possible too.
30 seconds
Yeah.
remaining.
Watch that hog. Got some maybe if it's just that is maybe a little bit of a reaction time thing. Pops a good fade out of it.
Require assistance.
30 seconds remaining.
I shouldn't have even been that far ahead, probably, to be honest.
Hmm.
So.
Orbs, very similar to your shift, not the same though. You can use it to burst heal people. You can use it to do big group AoE healing. You can heal people when you're too far away to heal normally. You can heal people if you're out of resources with it. You can heal people if like you already have your ultimate and you're not trying to like just spam. You're not trying to like feed them ult charge with damage orbs, right? Those are a couple situations where you can use healing orb, but you can kind of look at the situation and go, okay, well, yeah, is orb really checking off any of those boxes? Maybe not a whole lot. I mean, like, the only one who needs healing is Torb, and that he's, like, right next to us. We can just heal him up with, like, a tap of our left click. So, therefore, maybe toss in, like, a damage orb, get your ult up and ready.
Surrender to my will.
Meteor strike.
Allow me to repair the damage. As expected, your body
10
decays.
seconds remaining.
I've got you in my sights.
Alright. When we ulted during that fight, we ended up, like, backing out a little bit. So, we ult, and then I would probably be pushing forwards while I'm turning around and looking at the Doomfist. That way, as soon as I kill Doomfist, I'm able to go and immediately push and do more things with your ultimate, right? Whereas here we kind of sit back really far back. So as soon as we kill Doomfist, we have to run forwards an extra, 3 seconds, and that wastes most of our ultimate, right? So I'd probably just walk forwards while turning around and shooting at him. Additionally, was Morris Cole always 8 seconds? I thought it was 6 seconds.
It is 8. I know they increased the takes longer to charge the ult, but I don't think they increased it.
Meteor strike.
Huh? Maybe I just forgot how long it lasted.
Seems like a while.
Yeah, I think that's game.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's now go over the main points, do a quick review, and wrap up from there. So we went over Baptiste primarily. Ability usage. Make sure shift, we're kind of using it when shift is actually needed, right? So self-healing, group-wide healing, burst healing, maybe rare, nichely and rarely we can use it for anticipatory, but make sure it's like guaranteed damage. So like, for example, if your whole team's on a grab and you see that the Reinhardt's like a second away from swinging into your whole team, right? That's a scenario where you're like, all right, well, they're going to be I know that they're taking damage within a second here, so using it would not be that bad at all.
Have you considered a different line of work?
Immortality, right? Make sure that people are in danger, watch danger levels of people, not just low HP, but when they actually need it. So therefore pay attention to that. Overall, and then just make sure you're looking to use it. Just a couple scenarios where we could have, that we didn't. Particularly, while we're like in between those fights, we can still use it to stop our teammates from staggering, right? That one fight that we could have done it. Overall, maybe like a medium, maybe lower end of medium priority for you to work on with your abilities. Ult usage. Last game was definitely a tough one to try to use your ult, but make sure that there's actually people on your screen that are away from cover when you're ulting, so you can actually kill things. If possible, try not to let your team shoot through it, but against that comp, it wouldn't be too bad if you just shot through yourself. Put it up on the corner, because if we have it back here, right, then that means that we can't really see around this corner at all. But if we kind of put it around the corner and angle it a bit more as well, then we can see all this space, right? Whereas if we're back here, we can't see anything around that corner, right? So angle around the corner. That way you're able to actually see around the corner. Don't hold on to it, right? Make sure you're using it. And then also just kind of watch the fight. Sometimes it might not even be needed in the fight. So, yeah, that's mainly it. Overall, that one was like kind of a lower end of medium as well. moving on, mechanics. So overhealing, big old one, right? That came up again and again and again, as
Have
you
you
saw.
considered a different line of work?
Be careful of that with your shift as well, but just watch that because that really ends up wasting a lot of time. Probably shoot a bit more, right? It doesn't have to be extremely more, but just pretty much just with that time that you're wasting on overhealing, convert that over to shooting and or reloading is primarily what you should be doing. Watch danger levels of teammates, who needs healing and what, right? Sometimes we'd maybe miss it when people needed healing or we'd be slow to react, right? And then, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that is primarily it within mechanics. So overall, that one probably went to a, probably went to like a higher end of a medium. Somewhere within that, especially the overhealing. Then
I call
moving
that a
moving on to positioning. Positioning. Make sure that you are using cover. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Take high grounds, though. Do be careful, because I don't think we talked too much about it. But Baptiste is a very close range character to his team. He wants to be close to his team, mid range from enemy team, but close to his team. And if the high ground is very far away from his team, so if the high ground's like all the way over here from his team, well, then it's probably not a great high ground to be on. But if the high ground is like right here on his team, well, that's a lot more acceptable. Because we can still give our team our abilities easier and heal them easier and all of that jazz. So just pay attention to like the distance of the high ground from the fight and your team. But overall, make sure you're taking high grounds, and then additionally, just pay attention to, yeah, really the main one I think was using cover. And I think that's pretty much it within positioning. Overall, that was probably a medium priority or so. Another one to add in onto ability usage was going to be shift usage, right? So up against the enemy team, right? If they have high pressure potential or actual pressure, look to have charge. Sorry. What do you even call this? Leap, whatever, Exo boots. There you go. Exo boots charged up as often as possible. That way you're able to leap away at a moment's notice, especially to a high ground. Moving on to your awareness. Awareness, pay attention to your health bar. We healed ourselves a couple times before we full HP. Request healing when you're low is another option. Get your support to look at you faster. Make sure you're paying attention to where's my team at? Where's the enemy team? Sometimes we didn't really notice when, when Hog was running up the right, in the left room, or when our teammates were actually in need of healing. Pay attention to danger levels, pay attention to health bars. Health bars is the big one, so we're not overhealing, and we know danger levels as well. Pay attention to just generally what's going on in the fight. Press tab. I'd recommend pressing tab between pretty much every single fight of the game at a minimum, so you have info on what's going on, what comp are they on, what comp are we on, what ults do we have, and then that dictates play style, like we discussed. Overall, also audio awareness, right? Listen to your surroundings and pay attention. Overall awareness was like a medium-high priority. So to put that all in order, number 1 was awareness. Number 2 was going to be your mechanics. Number 3 is your ability usage. 4 ultimate usage. 5 is no, wait, did I skip? 5 is, what did I skip? Oh, wait, I skipped positioning. Oh, positioning. Positioning, sorry, was higher than ability usage. So it was number 1 awareness, 2 mechanics, 3 positioning, 4 ability usage, 5 ultimate usage. Any questions?
No, that makes sense.
Alrighty, so